The organic solar cells have a big advantage because they can be processed from solution, so you could spin cast them or make a large area of solar cell. But the difficulty with the organic solar cells is the durability. The molecules inside can be degraded photochemically, and the inorganic materials are more robust. They last longer inside the sun. They don't fade away easily. So in our work we've combined the two by taking nanocrystals which can be processed from solution but are inorganic, so that we could get durability but also low-cost processing. It depends a little bit on how quickly our nanocrystal solar cells develop. We need to increase their efficiency still, and there are many interesting ideas for how to do that, but they will need ultimately to become probably more efficient than the existing silicon solar cells before they're used very widely. So it's still an early stage, but there is a lot of promise. Yes, I do think that solar cells will grow. They already are growing at an exponential rate, just they're still very small. But every short period of time, the number of solar cells is increasing a lot. And I think in the next 20 years we'll see an enormous increase in the use of solar energy in general, because that's the most abundant and renewable source of energy that we could have access to. I do think that photovoltaic technologies will become competitive. I hope it will be soon. It still depends on more research breakthroughs. We're not quite there yet, but with all of the needs that we have for energy in the future, I think that more and more scientists are dedicating themselves to finding better ways to use solar energy, and I am optimistic that it will grow quickly, mainly because the technology is possible and we have a much greater need for it now than ever before. One possibility of these types of solar cells as to how they might start in the marketplace could be inside architectural finishings on surfaces where we don't normally put solar cells. We might have a curved surface on the outside of a building that isn't normally the place where we would put solar cells, but materials that are fabricated from solution on a flexible substrate could start to have a niche market in those kinds of areas, which are not ones where we would typically think of them. And I think in general there are many people now trying to think about how solar panels could be maybe not, sometimes they don't look as nice as they could, and there's some interest in trying to make them have an improved appearance. So that's one type of area as architectural finishings. A second one is in situations where flexibility is important. If you have a solar cell that can be rolled out and then once again rolled up to take away. So there are some uses there that are a little bit different than those that are available in today's technology. One thing to realize is that the nanocrystal-based solar cells are extremely thin compared even to conventional thin film semiconductor solar cells. That is, they might only have 1% of the mass of a conventional cell because the light absorption is taking place in a very small region where the optical efficiency is concentrated. So the amount of material is actually quite a bit less than if it had been made with a conventional process. And because the solar technology is a type of green technology, some places, for example here in the European Union, in Germany, an exception has been made even for conventional thin film solar cells that contain 100 times more cadmium. A new factory has been established there for cadmium-based solar cells recently. So there is some opportunity even in the short term, but longer term we need to develop new kinds of nanocrystals out of materials, out of elements which are both abundant and also non-toxic. And we have a very active research program at Berkeley in our group to try to create new nanocrystal-based materials which would substitute for the cadmium and ultimately replace it. So we are hopeful that that will be a successful effort, and then the materials will not have that difficulty associated with them. Oh, this prize is a very special recognition of the research. I've been working in the area of nanocrystals for a little bit over 20 years, and many co-workers, many students and postdocs and visitors have come to my laboratories in Berkeley and worked with me. So for me, the Eni Italgas Prize is a wonderful recognition of all the people who have been involved in the research over that period of time to help us accomplish the goals that we have. And also, I think it helps us very much to make the case for the future that solar energy really has great promise. This type of recognition helps very much to build the future of the solar cells.